I was asked to do a quick update on two of the extensions that we have, and that are also part of the OpenCSP that we'll be talking about tomorrow. And then Art asked me to do, instead of a quick presentation, do a tutorial. So it's been a while. I think about 15 years since I did a live presentation. So bear with me, please. If I talk too quickly or you people do not understand me, just let me know, and we'll address it as we go. So my name is officially Charlot, but it's always hard for people, so everybody calls me Charlie. And I work at Wikibase Solutions as a developer. And I'm going to talk a little bit about FlexForm. There's been a lot of presentations on the EMWCon and some other SMWCons from my colleagues. And today, I think it's the first time I do a presentation that's actually live regards to the extension. So FlexForm, we have forms in MediaWiki and Semantic MediaWiki, of course. And FlexForm is also a form renderer, so you can create forms with to use in MediaWiki or on your wiki pages. But the fun thing about FlexForm is that if you know HTML5 forms, then you'll know FlexForm because the syntax is exactly the same. So this has been shown on several presentations. I thought I'd just quickly show it again, this information. So on the top, there's a form that's HTML5, and the other one is a FlexForm example. And the good thing about that, if you would search on the internet for, like, I would like to have a great contact page form or whatever, you could basically just copy and paste it and use it. And the only addition you need to do with FlexForm is tell FlexForm what to do with the form once it's submitted. So that's the whole idea behind it. And you can use it on any page, on templates, and it doesn't matter, it's not namespace dependent, so you can use it everywhere. And of course, because the only job it has to do is render a form and actually do stuff with it as soon as you submit it, you can style it in any way you can. You're free to style it, like use Bootstrap or whatever your preferences are. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what's new in FlexForm since the last presentation. Well, we have the support for multi-content revision slots. It's built in. So basically you can create a form and tell, if somebody submits the form, you can say it should not be in the main content page space of a page, but it should be in a different slot. There's on interval change, which is there's a possibility for FlexForm. You could edit, for instance, you could create a form that actually edits another page, like you're creating a book or a large page, and you have what you see is what you get out of like TinyMC extension or whatever, and you're working on that page in FlexForm. There are some options to autosave, so you can autosave on a change or autosave on interval or both. And this is added. Basically, this starts the on interval save as soon as it sees that there's changes. That's the only addition there. Calculation fields, which is pretty interesting, and I'll show you that in a second. Template fields, that's also a pretty interesting feature. Template fields and calculation fields basically give you the opportunity to create a field, create a form, and have some fields be real-time updated. So with calculation fields, you could create some number fields in a form, and you could say that you have a total field, for instance, and you can have a calculation argument there and say, I want this field to be field A plus field B, for instance. Really easy, but that's it, and I'll show you in a sec. And with template fields, and Tempex is a weird name, I know. I couldn't find any better name for it. So that's an argument. Basically, if you have some fields in your form, you can have another field that will act on if one of the other fields is changed. You have like field A, field B, and field A or field B is changed. You can actually call real-time a template that will take the arguments of field A and B, do something, and put it in field C. And I'll show you that as well. There's also the support for inside multiple instances. And multiple instances, you can have a look at. You can look that up. My colleague Lieselot just created a developer log about multiple instances. But basically, you define like one line of form fields, and you have a plus and minus, and you can add more rows, like creating an order for a client or anything like that. But there's information on that on the developer blogs on the Wikibase Solutions website. Same thing for show on select. Show on select is there's a checkbox. If you check the checkbox, you will get extra fields. So, or you have a select box saying yes or no, like, would you like to give us more information? You choose yes, then there's a text area popping up where you can fill in, and it will be sent off with the form. Then we have SEO URLs. FlexForm can create new pages, and the SEO URL means it's a local setting. So you set it in the local settings, and then whenever somebody creates a page, it will make sure that the name of the page will always be SEO friendly. And I've got a demonstration of that as well. Extension support is just there because FlexForm now has a hook. So as soon as a form has been submitted and FlexForm is done with everything, it just triggers the hook so that anybody else can jump in there and still do stuff with the values that was in the form, do extra stuff. So it's for creating extensions for FlexForm. There's a screenshot file upload, which is also interesting, and I have a demo of that as well. And template content in file pages. We didn't have that yet, and I came across that a couple of weeks ago, and I thought that would be really neat. Basically, FlexForm can also upload files, and now you can add to the content of your file page. You can add a template with all the other forms that are all the other fields that are in the form. And I'm going to show you that. The only problem is that I had my browser all set up with all the pages, but then it had to restart to allow sharing. So right. Just quickly go here because I don't want to spoil the homepage.
Maybe we can also move this away somehow. I don't know how.
Oh, it's all there as well, yeah.
So.
All right. Okay, so I've set up an index page here, and let's quickly go through it because we have half an hour, so let's just keep it that way. So slot support. So I created a simple form here, and it doesn't really do anything. It has a slider. And you can choose from 0 to 10, and you can save this to a slot. So that's actually what it says here, writing to slot WS base props. So this wiki that we have here has some content slots, and one of them is called WS base props. Let's have a quick look under the hood. So yeah, here's the form, and we're creating a page in this case. Of course, is a horse. Of course. Is this readable?
Perhaps, yeah, I'm not sure.
If
the black background is.
Right. Yeah. It's this thing, isn't it?
Right. Now the cross on the right.
Ooh. Now the cross on the right. What? You mean this cross?
The casket, yeah.
The casket. Oh. Yeah, so we have a form here, and this is the label, and this is a range slider. I added a class there to have the range slider look a little bit, neater than just a simple plain slider. This is the submit button, and this is the magic with FlexForm. I'm telling it, write to the same page, use a template called test, but use this slot. So this is actually the only addition that you do to have it saved to a specific slot. And I want to have the field range, which is this one, added inside the template content. And I'll show you how that works. So let's pick a number here. Let's say to slot. Let me zoom out a little bit. I can actually look at the MediaWiki doesn't have support for so that you can view what's inside your content slots or edit them. That's the reason why FlexForm has the support for that. But we can view we can have a look inside the slot in this case. And as you can see, I said use a template called test and use range, and the range is 8. That's the number we chose. And we actually, so this page has 2 content slots, base props and class props. And I said, well, put that content inside this one. That's basically what it does. Right. If there's any questions, and I know multiple content revision slots is a big word, but there's a lot of information on it on MediaWiki as well. So let's quickly go on to the calculation fields. So there's an example there. As I said, you can do real-time calculation with number fields that are in a form. So let's say we have an amount of 100 and the tax is 20%. That means that, well, the tax will be 20 and the total will be 120. And of course you can have a submit button here, and then it will all be saved to, or edit a page or whatever you want to do. Let's have a quick look under the hood. Zoom in a little bit. Would it be possible for me to sit down? Will I still be visible? Good. Finally. Klaska. Yes. So as you can see, it's pretty easy. I actually put it inside a wiki table so that all the fields are next to each other. You can do that with classes as well, but I thought perhaps this will look way much familiar for people. So an input field of type number, and I call this field 1. There's another one here, which is field 2. And then I have the tax one, and there's actually that calc argument. And I'm saying here, take field 1 and multiply it by field 2 divided by 100. And because it's in brackets, it'll first do this and then multiply it against field 1. And then the last one is called the total, and that basically just says, does the same calculation, but then adds field 1 so that you have the total. So it's pretty simple, but it can be very useful, I think. Then the Tempex. I have a quick, and this is not a good example. I mean, seriously, but I'm not really familiar with how to do calculations and all those kind of things inside a template. I'm just,
You don't know anything about templates.
I do not know anything about templates, hence the name Tempex. So yeah, the thing about this, I've got 3 text fields, actually 2 text inputs, an email input, and then an empty text area. But if I would type my name here, you'll notice that the text area is already filled up with what I typed. And if I put my last name in there, it will put that. So I did create a template that says, you know, if I have this value, then show it, and otherwise do not. And my my email address, and then you see a whole line there that has been added. As I said, this is not a very good example, but you can see the power of this, because those could also be number fields, and you could do like really technical calculations, or you could do like a semantic query to get some results and then put it in a result field. I'll quickly show you the template first. It's not really that difficult. So if there's a first name, then show first name. If there's a last name, show a last name. And if there's an email, then show this whole riddle. It's the only thing it does. And then I'll show you the source code for this. Right, so there's the beginning of the form, and there's a label for this field, which is called fname, so first name, last name, also an input type of text with a label in front of it, and the email, which is an email. Well, actually, I didn't put in the. I could have made that instead of type as text. I could have said type as email, because then it will check if it's a valid email address. And then you have the text area, and that has the Tempex field attached to it. The Tempex argument, I should say. And basically that's, and it's in the documentation, what it what it asks is the first argument it wants to have is the name of the template that we're using. So that was the template I just showed you the source code for. And then it just wants to have the field names that are defined. Where are they? So here, name is first name is last name, and then we have name is email, and then you just give those as the arguments. And then as soon as one of these three change, this will be called in the background. So it will parse the template and put it inside this text area. That's it. So it could be something else. It could be a number field, or it could be a text field. It could be anything you want it to be. So if there's any questions, let me know. This is the SEO support. So basically what I've done here is I'll show you the source code. This is your mouse, Cindy, no?
No.
Is it your mouse? It's a really sticky mouse. I mean, and by sticky, I mean if I touch the scroll wheel, I mean, my finger is stuck. I mean,
It's our mouse, so it's also a little bit your mouse.
right, no, you're not gonna talk your way out of that. So there's a form, and all the other things you see here, which is specifically FlexForm, you can see that in the documentation. But basically, an action of add to wiki means I'm either going to create a page or edit a page, or upload a file, or send an email. Email is a different action. So yeah, this is the main part here, and I'm creating a page, and the title is going to be p title, and p title is the name of this text field that's here. So basically, you see a form where you can type something in, and that will be the name of the new page that will be created. Template means I don't want any template inside the new page, and MW follow means that as soon as the page is created, go to it instead of returning back to the form. So that's what this does. And let me. So this is of course not a valid title for a page, and I'm just going to try that here. So there's a lot of things, and if I say create new page, then you notice that it did save the content, because I didn't show you that, but I also said I want to have the content should not be in a template, but it should be one of the fields that's, so there was only one field. So put the content inside the content of the page. But as you can see here for the URL, this is the SEO URL that has been created. So it will always be SEO friendly. And I know that might not be important, but believe me, we have a lot of customers where that is very important. Right, screenshot file upload. Now I need to zoom out a little bit. So this is an example of where I'll show the source. That's probably more helpful. So we have a horizontal rule there, and then we have this div with an ID of photo, and it's got some styling saying it's 500 pixels wide and some padding. And then we have the head, and we have the Lorem Ipsum text here. Then I've added a signature field for FlexForm, and the signature field is where somebody can write his signature. And then here is the field itself, the form itself. So we want to add something to the wiki, show a success message. And then here, I basically say I want to upload a file, but I have this option here, which is called presenter. And the reason behind that is that we can have several different presenters. And this one is called Canvas. And basically what you tell this to do is create a screenshot of something that's on the screen currently and save that as a file into your MediaWiki. That's what it says. And there's this argument for it. It asks for Canvas source ID, which is photo, and that's this ID. So basically everything inside this div will be an image that will be uploaded to MediaWiki. And the interesting thing, I put the signature field there because sometimes you want to have, like if you have a customer that signs an order, you don't really want to save the signature itself. You could do that with the signature field, be done, but then you would have all your customer signatures, and you could potentially, that would be a breach if you leak them. But you could have the whole order there, including the signature, and store that as a complete, as you know, as a signed order. So I'll quickly give a demonstration here. So I just say, okay, this is really hard actually, wiki, and I say agree. I didn't tell FlexForm to do anything except send a how do you call that, a thank you message, which should pop up here, but my internet is a bit slow here, so I should get a nice pop-up message. There it is. So it says check your contributions for the test canvas file, so let's do that. And sure enough, there it is. And here you see everything that was inside that div that we created, including the signature. So that's actually a pretty neat feature. I mean, I can imagine that you wouldn't use that every day, but if you have like a system where you could use like a signature or something else, like where you would like to have a part of the screen saved as a file in the wiki, you can do it like this, because it actually works on a pretty how do you call that, complex website. So if there's if it's a beautiful website with columns and whatever it's in there, the screenshot will be perfect. So that's the canvas upload, and then the last one was the template content in file pages. I won't go through this a lot because I just released a developer log explaining everything what you see here, and it's a video, so you could just sit back and hear me talk. But basically, the inspiration came from actually Semantic MediaWiki, because I was for the conference, I needed to upload a picture, and then they asked me to put this inside the file page, which is fine, and it's logical, because you can do a lot of semantic queries if you have that in there. But I thought, well, you could do that way much easier by creating a flex form. And that's what I've done here, basically. So it asks for a description, a date, a source, author, license code, all those kind of things. And I basically created the form asking you for that. And then the license code, I just made a select box so you can quickly select something. So you fill this in. I don't have any checks in there, so it should be fine. And then you can upload a picture. And then this will be the template inside the file page, basically what they ask here. So this.
Can you put that in a different slot as well?
Yes. No.
No. Oh, that's something for the hackathon. Yeah, because we don't want this kind of stuff in the main slot anymore.
Yeah, of a file page, I think we had that discussion, and we said that we would address it another time. So perhaps this, so perhaps the hackathon. Yeah. So and I showed you a drop file. I'm not gonna. Well, I could. Oh, I didn't upload anything, did I? As I said, there's no checks in there, so I didn't even upload a picture. Browse screenshot. I've got no clue what kind of screenshot this is. Oh well, okay, this one. So let's. So if I go to my contributions, it should be in there. There it is. And then if I click on edit source, you'll notice that it has this template inside of it. So it makes life a lot easier. And previously you couldn't. You could add content to a file page, but not in an easy way, so that I can actually have a template inside there. Where is? Oh my. Okay. Right, and I'll just really quickly. You know what time is it? 10:45. I got 5 minutes left. Jeez. Right. Okay. So go to the documentation on to see how to do that. Then, because I have PowerPoint. There it is. I still have. Oh, okay, nice. It starts all over again. Right, there's PageSync as well, which is also part of the OpenCSP platform. And there's been demonstration on this before as well, so I'm not going to dive into it. But basically what it does is you can easily add pages inside your wiki that can be widgets, templates, files. It doesn't really matter. And you can tell PageSync to monitor them. So if they, and what it then does, it will save a copy of that page as a file on your server. And if somebody updates the page, it will also be updating the file on the server. But for us, that is really important because we usually develop in a development area, and then we go to a staging area, then a testing area, or testing, staging, and then production. And because those files are on the server, they will also go through all those steps. And as soon as we deploy a staging server, for instance, those files are on the server, and there's a maintenance script in PageSync that will be run through a pipeline, and it will put those pages back in. So you sync between steps. It's basically the beginning idea of what PageSync is. And I'll just really quickly, because I have 5 minutes left. There's some new stuff in PageSync, backup, share, and metadata. So let's go to the same website I was just on just now, and if I go to the admin links, there's PageSync. And if you go to the special page of PageSync, you'll get a list of all the pages that are currently in PageSync. So it's monitoring that and always making a copy on the server as well. You can now edit a specific page, like this is a widget, and you can add some description and you can actually tag it. The reason for the tagging is this share option here, which I'll tell you about in a sec. Another fun thing is the backups, or fun. It's what it does. It will create of all the files that are in PageSync that it's monitoring. It will create a backup of all the files currently that are in the wiki at that moment, and it will save it as one file. And you can simply just put that file back. So you have a snapshot of all the files, and if you say, okay, I want to have the snapshot from last week back, all those files will be put back in a sec. So and creating a backup is clicking a button. And now I've got another backup, which is down here. So I could safely say I want to restore this, and then it will just put all the files that were in there. So in this list, and they have been updated now, been put back in the wiki.
So, Charlie, is this a good way to a good tool for creating a test set and be able to
yeah, although
the test set and so you have the same starting point. Yes,
but the idea of the backup, that it's for this wiki, so it's not. That's why we have the share. So if you want to put your basic test set on another wiki, you should use the share option. And that's what we're coming to now. So I have no shared files here. What a share file is, what it does is you can choose, and I'll create one quickly. Let's say, so this is actually a good one. So the pages I've just shown you for the FlexForm presentation, I've tagged them with SMWCon. So I'm saying, okay, give me all those pages. And those are the pages. Then you need to write like a disclaimer or description, at least so that somebody knows what this is about. These fields are optional, but really handy, because that information is shown as soon as you want, if you're sharing this file. And the whole idea about sharing is, so you have these pages here, which can work on their own as long as you have FlexForm. So you create like a zip file with all this information in there. And the idea is you can share that with somebody else, and they just install it, and they have like the whole demonstration I've just shown you, they have it, and they can test it, and they can, but of course, that's for this demonstration, but you could also use kind of packages of widgets and templates that are really interesting and that are giving you a feature for your wiki. So you can share them as well. So I'm just going to quickly just type something here. Requirements is actually pretty neat, because if I would say you need FlexForm 1.35, and I'll create a share file. So now it lists me that I have this file. And sharing it means download it, and you can give it to somebody else, and then you can install the shared file using the maintenance script only in the console. The reason is security, basically. Now, I'm not expecting like 100 million people start to share PageSync zip files, but just in case, there used to be here that you can just upload one of those files, but we thought security-wise. But there is an installed shared zip file. So what we've done, we've created a GitHub repository where people can add their zip files. But because they need to add it to the repo, we have like a hand in there just to make sure that it's a legit and a logical PageSync share file. That it's, I mean, it's not, you can actually do something with it, or it's not, it doesn't have any bad words or all those kind of things. So we can check it. And if as soon as it's in the repo, you can just say, okay, I want to install this one. So there's a description here. It tells you you need FlexForm 1.35, and it tells me you've got this one installed. Actually, it should be 1.135. That's my bad. It tells you need MediaWiki, and you've got this version installed. So it actually checks the version you have installed. And like here, it says you need OpenCSP, and it says, but you don't have OpenCSP, so you get a cross. And then you just click Preview Shared File. Then you get actually the contents of this file, which is just one FlexForm file upload tutorial I created earlier. And again, more information, who created it, which company. And if I would say I agree to this and install it, then you've got a page which is called FlexForm file upload tutorial in your wiki. And it supports slots, it supports files. So you can create a whole package that is templates, widgets, normal pages, it doesn't really matter, and files. And as soon as people install it, you have everything inside your own wiki. So I had I think I had everything from, yeah, so share, backup, and the custom metadata. I think that's it for PageSync and FlexForm. So yeah, I don't know if anybody has any questions. Jeffrey.
So PageSync and FlexForm won't require OpenCSP to install.
No, it can be used on any wiki.
And I can just install PageSync by itself. I don't need FlexForm with it.
No.
Awesome.
No, it's a separate extension that will work. As long currently it only supports 1.35 MediaWiki, so the previous LTS version, and then in November there will be a branch for the new version. Yeah.
Could people online hear Jeffrey's question? I'm not sure if they can hear that.
Oh, right, okay. Jeffrey asked me if PageSync or FlexForm, if they can be used on any wiki, or if they're part of OpenCSP, or if FlexForm needs PageSync, or vice versa. No, there are separate extensions. You can install them as long as it's MediaWiki 1.35. You can install them and use them. Yeah.
Yeah, you also mentioned on your documentation platform that the main difference with PageSform is that you can easily combine multiple tasks and also edit only parts of the page.
Yes.
I really like that approach because you also get to the limit of PageSform, and we also have the problem that we have very complex, deeply nested data, and we also have this limitation. So we also do you think you cover also deeply nested forms? Because what we find that we want to use JSON editor, which is a JSON scheme-based form creation. Yeah. So do you think the FlexForm could also cover very complex forms, and if not, do you also consider JSON scheme-based web forms?
That's actually funny. I'm working on a new version, and I'm gonna repeat that.
Okay.
So, so the question that just popped in is if FlexForm, because FlexForm can do not just one action, you could actually, as I've shown you, you can do, you can create a form and then say create a page, but you can also say create this page, create that page, all from one form, or edit this page. And the question was if FlexForm would also be able to handle really deep nested template data and edit those. The first answer I would say is try it out. What we did do is, because we ran into that problem as well. If you have like a template within a template within a template, and then that template is repeated 5 times, which one do you need? So there's an option within FlexForm, as long as you have of the template you need, one value that you know what so the name and the value, that will be your key basically. So you can say, okay, find this template, because that's the one I want to change. And I need the template that has an argument called hello, and the value is bye-bye. And then it'll know, okay, this is the template I need to change. And the other question that arose was if FlexForm would support JSON-based saving. And actually, I'm writing a new version of, or actually an update for FlexForm that actually, instead of template, it will save a JSON. So yeah, so the answer would probably be yes, but it might be a good idea to talk a little bit about that, because if you have like just another thing that you say, okay, but that is really what we need, then I could just probably build it in. Yeah, so I don't see, I'm not expecting problems there. Shall I just stand up so I can see you? Anybody else? Any questions still?
How about security?
Sorry?
Any form validation done?
Security.
Yes, in what regards?
You have 3 fields. What validation is done when you submit it?
There's a couple of things you can do with it. Because it's HTML, it is an HTML5 form renderer. So basically what it says is, if you want to have security, build it in. Use the HTML5 form security options you have. If you need anything else, write the JavaScript for it. If you need validation, so somebody's typing, you're expecting somebody to type something, and you need to check it. Usually it's done by JavaScript or anything else. Yeah, you do it that way. There is a lot of security built in regards of you cannot manipulate the form. So if you render a FlexForm field, inside the form, there will be the information, what it should do with the form as soon as it's submitted. You cannot alter that. If you alter that, you cannot even read it. But if you would alter it, it will not submit the form. Actually, it would submit the form, but it just wouldn't do anything. So those kind of security, it's been through some pen tests, I can promise you. Yeah, but basically the idea is, if you want to have for the user input, you want to have validation there. There's of course HTML has some basic validations. You can put regex in there. You can min max values if it's numbers, all those kind of things you can use. That's all working. But if you do want to make sure that whatever is typed in is correct, you do that whatever you do with normal forms, which is like JavaScript or whatever. That's the idea. Right? All right then. Well, thanks for your time. Sorry?